And hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, along with my co-host Bailey, and this is where we introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. I met today's guest up in Northern California, where I live, at a potluck, and she said, "Can I come on your show and make my famous beet hummus?" And I said, "Of course." Her name is Chef Cherie Amour, and please welcome her to the show. It's nice to see you, even though I just saw you in person.
Thank you. Yes, it was a delight. Those potlucks are very special and inspirational. You get so many ideas, and I really appreciate that Valeria hosts them.
Yeah, they are so great. If you guys live anywhere near Northern California, we can't post the address on the social medias or websites, but if you join Healthy Living in Lincoln with Chef AJ, we can let you in on all the fun. So you're a relatively new vegan, aren't you?
Yes. As of Halloween 2022, I decided to take the plunge. I had heard you interviewed by Rich Roll. I think that I heard the podcast sometime last summer, and I was utterly startled by the notion of salt, oil, and sugar-free. And yet, your description and acknowledgement of food addiction really resonated with me. I actually at one time had said to someone, "I think I'm addicted to food." And their response was, "Well, how can that be? You're not fat." And I was like, I could recognize patterns of eating in myself that indicated to me that certain things would prompt me to eat out of control. And so, you know how our culture is. We're obsessed with a certain look, and it creates a lot of stress in one's life trying to meet those criteria.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting how people think it's just about weight, but people can be consumed with compulsive eating, addictive eating at any weight.
Yes.
Interesting. Did you ever struggle with your weight at all?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I went away to college at Walla Walla College in College Place, Washington, which is a Seventh-day Adventist college, now a university. And at the time, I started buying dates and peanut butter at the school store. And I would just dip them in the peanut butter, and I just ballooned up to, I looked okay by most people's standards, and my girlfriends were very generous and said, "Oh, you're just big boned." And I knew better. And so I did something really radical, which was I put myself on a 500 calorie a day diet, and I started running. And oh, yes, the weight came off, but then I was obsessed with food. And so, anyway,
It's funny, Cherie, that you mentioned dates with peanut butter, because at our potluck just this week, that's one of the things that they were serving.
and I can do just a little peanut butter, but it's one of the items I really can't have in my home because it's something that I can definitely go overboard on. I love it.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. So were you much of a chef or a cook before you chose to become vegan?
Yes, I really love to cook. I grew up in Tillamook. Well, my family was in Portland, Oregon, and my grandparents had a dairy farm in Tillamook, Oregon, and I spent time there. They had wild blackberries growing. We would make cobbler with fresh dairy cream. My grandmother, Leela Quick, which God rest her soul, one of the funniest women on the face of this earth. She would get me laughing to the point that my cheeks would be aching. She was such a natural comedian, if you will. And she also would help us make the blackberry cobbler, the all homemade bread, kneaded by hand. And because it was a dairy, we would, have beef. We would have ice cream. That was a big treat because we didn't have a freezer at one time. And then there was, grandma would churn her own butter. So those things were all prominent in my diet at that time.
Well, I spoke once up at Tillamook in Walla Walla. It was really interesting up there. It was a Seventh-day Adventist community, as you mentioned. They had a veg fest or a health expo.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about your beet hummus because beets are beautiful. They're nutritious. It's funny how some people like them and some people they don't. But in a hummus, I think that everyone might like them.
Well, let me show you what's in it. And the origin story is I bought some beet hummus at the Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op, and it was called lemon beet hummus. And I really liked it, but I looked on the ingredients list and it featured olive oil. And I was like, excuse me, it featured canola oil. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to consume canola oil. So I decided to try and make my own using olive oil, which I did. And until I learned about olive oil not being that great for our circulatory system. So I've learned I can omit it and it's still wonderful. So let me.
Where did you learn most of what you know about the health benefits of a plant-based diet?
Well, I was pretty much obsessed with health from a very young age because I went to those Seventh-day Adventist schools and there was always a health message. And it's interesting. I've heard other people say that the dietary guidelines are from Genesis, but the ones that our church followed was in Leviticus 11, and it's very similar to the Jewish tradition not to have fish that do not have fins and gills, and if you have a animal, it has to have cloven hoofs. So pigs were out and horses were out, but you could have deer and cows and elk and things of that nature.
Yeah, that is so bizarre to me. Whoever decided, I mean, I don't think we should eat any animals, but whoever decided which ones were, pun, if you will, fair game,
Well, I have been listening to you and your advocacy for animals, and I have come around to agree with you, definitely. So,
well, thank you. We're proud to have you on the team. You've brought oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The other thing about beets that I think is so remarkable is what Dr. Eskelsen says, that they promote the health of our arterial system, the nitric oxide producing quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we go. It's going to be, let's see. I have my beautiful, you know what? I started before and I made us some date paste. But my mother, Ann Nelson, whom you met yesterday, she's one of the amazing kitchen gadget queens. And she did loan me this. So we're going to put the beet hummus into this.
The question of the century is, how do you get your Vitamix carafe or blender, the plastic part, to look nice after using it for a while? I know people have said the baking, yeah.
I'm not sure if you use this technique that when I rinse it out, then I put in a little warm water and a little squirt of detergent, dishwashing detergent, and just run it with the blades. And that's how I clean it. So seems to work for me.
Somebody said this one thing they said baking soda and then put it outside in the sun. And I'm like, boy, that's a lot of work.
Well, I hadn't heard of that one before.
I haven't tried it. It's not a problem. It just doesn't look pretty,
Yeah, Yeah. Let's see. I need a knife. Here we go. So the beet, I find that if you want a very vibrant beet color, it's a good idea to get the beet like raw. And you can get them at the farmer's market, or you could get them at Rayleigh's. Rayleigh's has excellent beets with the tops on, and I love it when I use the tops on. I take off the tops, steam them in the Instant Pot for 18 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of the beet. And then I remove them out of the Instant Pot, let them cool a little bit, and I flip off the beet skin.
Do you Cherie, have you ever seen at Costco or Trader Joe's the pre-steamed beets? Could a person use those if they want?
Yes, they could, and I have done that. It's just that it doesn't come out that vibrant color.
Got it.
So you lose a little bit of the vibrancy. Okay, so what I've done is 2 cans or 3.5 cups of garbanzos, which you've cooked in the Instant Pot. And then I have 17 to 20 ounces of the steamed beet. And then this is one of those kitchen gadgets that my mother gave me many years. It's a microplaner, and she got it back when Martha Stewart was all the rage. And I've had this for years. I use it nearly every day. It's one of the best things in my kitchen. I love it. I'm super lucky. I have a sister in Australia, and she is an amazing adventurous cook. And she and I both love to use citrus zest in our recipes. And she calls lemon and lime a flavor elevator.
I love that, a flavor elevator. Well, you know, if people are either trying to reduce or completely eliminate salt, using the zest of the lemon, the lime, and citrus or vinegar, those types of things really help with the missing for salt, because your salt taste buds apparently sit next to your sour taste buds.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, pretty clever. Is your mom following your lead in adopting a plant-based diet?
Yes, she is. In fact, okay, about the Instant Pot. When you started talking about the Instant Pot, I was like, oh my God. Some of my coworkers had them and raved about them, but I thought, oh no, that's like having a small semi-nuclear reactor in your house. And I was too reluctant. And with your encouragement, I finally went out and got one. It probably sat in the box for 6 weeks, and finally I got it out, figured out how to use it. It wasn't hard at all, and it does a great job.
It really is. You know, I find microplanes a little bit more difficult to use than zesters. Do you have any tips on microplaning? I find like maybe I go too deep. I don't know. I just skin it off until you can't see that shiny part anymore. Yeah. You want the peel, not the pith.
Right. Exactly.
Do you ever teach cooking classes?
Well, back in college, when we had to do demonstration speech, I can't believe I did this, but I demonstrated how to make pita bread. So I think I'm a little nuts to have tried such a big, ambitious thing, but I had some partially made, and I had some all the way made, and it worked out, and I got a good grade in the class. I think I've demoed a couple times. Actually, my mom goes to the Seventh-day Adventist church on Eastern, and they have these beautiful health nights, and I've been there and kind of helped when she demos some recipes. So I have a little bit. And believe me, I'm interested in like helping teach young people about it, because I think if young people decide they want to be compassionate towards animals and be conserving of the earth, then they naturally will embrace this plant-based way of eating. So now I need to juice this lemon. So I'm making a double batch. So I put the juice of the 2 lemons into, let's see here. I hate getting the seeds in there. That is the one thing that is tough.
Do you ever use one of those, they go, it's like a hand juicer. You just kind of.
Oh, no, but I do like my very nice lemon reamer.
Yep, those work great too.
That works like a champ. Get a little bit of a workout too. The thing I like about this is, you can make this. It's good for plant-based eaters, but non-plant-based eaters that are open to beet, they like this too. Hummus is excellent because you can use it on your salad. You can jazz up, like if you want a tostada, you can put it on there. There's all kinds of opportunities.
How long will it keep once you make it in the refrigerator?
I think I've had it up to a week, maybe a week and a half, but usually it's gone because I love it so much, and I make it and share it with my mom. So that's what happens. It gets consumed. All right, so to balance the flavors, I have 1 clove of garlic for the double batch, and I have a half of a teaspoon of cayenne to give it just a little bit of zing. There we go. And I realize some people do not particularly like to use tahini, but I use just 1 tablespoon per batch. But I don't use any oil of any kind. I don't really feel it's needed. One time I made this recipe and I didn't have any tahini, and it didn't thicken quite as much. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want it to kind of gel a little bit. All right, and a little bit of, this is a beautiful organic white wine vinegar that I get at the Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op. And I even found some at the grocery outlet one time, and it works very well. So, 1/4 cup of that.
And what is that called? Can I see the label?
Oh, certainly. It is Madhava. Can you see it?
Nice. Oh, so it's an organic white wine vinegar. Nice.
Yeah. All right. I just want to go through and make sure I've gotten okay. Garbanzos, the beets, the lemon juice, and garlic, the vinegar, cayenne, and tahini. We are ready to blend.
Woohoo!
All right, Zoom. Time to silence.
You guys make your hummus in a Vitamix? I generally use my food processor. I don't know why, but I guess you could use a Vitamix with the tamper. Just never thought about doing it that way. Sure is a pretty color.
Look at that.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
It is. And tastes as good as it looks. All right, let me show you a really quick thing with beet. You turned me on to the California balsamic vinegar, and believe it or not, one of my college roommates lives in Ukiah.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, and my other college roommate from Walla Walla came here to visit me, and we drove to Ukiah and went to the headquarters of California balsamic. It was so exciting. And he's every bit as enthusiastic in person as he is on your show or at the Harvest Festival. It was really fun to meet him. Oh my God. And we really stocked up. So what I'm going to do, remember I said Ann Nelson is the queen of kitchen gadgets? Well, this is a wavy cutter. You probably a kind of a wavy mandolin. Can you see that?
That's very cool. That's very. Do you use a glove when you use it? It drives me crazy when people don't. I always worry they're going to cut their tip off.
I do not.
People, don't you know how dangerous it is? I've cut the tip of my thumb off, so that's why I speak from experience.
Okay, well, I'm going to be super, super, super careful. I'm just going to wavy cut these real quick. And then what I have, it's hard to choose a favorite, but I love the wild huckleberry on this. And Chef AJ, I'm in a choir, and we would have these potlucks, and it's conventional eaters and, you know, a few vegans, a few plant-based. Everybody likes these. And they're salt, oil, and sugar-free. They just have a little that vinegar on there.
Hey, if it tastes good.
Oh my God.
So everybody always wants to know what every guest on Chef AJ Live eats during the day, like for a day. What I eat in a day.
Oh, okay. Oh, yay. I was anticipating that question. I'm trying to adopt your vegetables for breakfast habit. So I like to steam some broccoli and or even zucchini. I have a little community garden plot, so sometimes I have zucchini, and or both Brussels sprouts, and then sometimes I'll have it with some of my sauces. Okay, here we go. Look at these beets.
Those are beautiful.
And here is the pomegranate California balsamic. I'm just going to take some and pour that over. And that I usually, if I'm going to go to a potluck, I'll make that the day ahead and let the flavors absorb. But it's super, super easy and delicious. Now, I have another beet recipe for you, but it was Carol Woblowski.
Robluski?
Yes. Oh my God. So that's the thing. I think people need to know the great news about eating this way is you can actually eat oats and potatoes and rice. And I was so thrilled. Oh my God. I had been kind of doing keto for a while when, eating a big vegetable filled frittata that I would make every day. And, but my cholesterol started climbing, and then my blood sugar was climbing, my A1C, and so they talk about in the media about keto this, keto that, but what they don't tell you is the side effect of the cholesterol climbing up. And so anyway, when I saw you interview Carol and this beet muffin recipe. I call them red velvet chocolate muffins. So here we go. This is super easy. I have my Cuisinart. I don't know. Can you see the Cuisinart? Right.
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Okay, and I have everything measured out. So I was so blessed last night. My son came to visit me and he helped me. These are 10 dates. I have in here in the Cuisinart, I've got freshly steamed dates cut up, and then I put in the 10 dates. These are some very ripe bananas, the kind you don't like to eat.
Well, I like them in recipes, but if I'm just going to snack on it, I prefer it to be less ripe.
Me either. I do not like to eat it with this up. But the recipes are perfect.
Do you have a cookbook, Cherie?
I do not, but some of my friends have been, over the years, way before I ever started doing this, they're like, oh, you should write a cookbook. And, oh man, it seems like an overwhelming, daunting task. So
having just completed one, I concur. It can be it takes a lot longer than you would think.
Well, and don't all those recipes have to be tested out by people?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes, oh my goodness. Okay, so it takes the beets, the dates, the bananas, and oh boy. I picked up the beet hummus recipe. That will not work. That will not work. No. I have to have a lid on that thing. There we go.
Oh. That looks like a big one. Is that the 16 cup?
That is, I think so. I got it at Williams Sonoma many, many years ago because I had a foray into raw fooding. And they really recommended Chef AJ. I don't know why this thing is not, I have to dump everything out.
It never works. Believe me, I teach cooking all the time, and it never works when the eyes are on you. That's always seems to be the case. If it's not on just right, if the blade isn't pushed all the way down, for example.
Right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Well. Okay, we're gonna go. I'm gonna blend that up. Okay. So once you have your beets, bananas, and dates, then you put in your half a cup of cocoa powder, some vanilla, balsamic vinegar, baking powder, and oats. And here we're going to mix it in. So I sent you that in the recipe I sent you, but it is Carol's recipe. And I just had to share it because I feel it really helps me stay on the SOS free program.
Well, it's interesting because you haven't even been vegan a whole year, and nobody really, unless you have like something that you're healing from, expects people to immediately jump into SOS free.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think most people do. I think most people that are vegan are not even oil free.
Well, as I said, I believe I saw you talk to Rich Roll, and I started thinking, well, oh my goodness, how am I going to go without my daily vegetable frittata? Oh my. And so I started easing into it, but then on Halloween, it took 6 weeks, and I had a blood test, and I literally had gone from over 200 in my cholesterol down to 157. And then my blood pressure had been in the 140s or 50s. They hadn't started making me take pills, but I work in a neuro intensive care unit, and I could see people that had strokes and how it negatively impacted their lives and their quality of life. So I knew it was important to have your blood pressure under control. And guess what? Now my blood pressure is in the teens. And there is
wait, in the teens? What do you mean by in the teens? Because
like 100,
okay,
111 or something like that. Sorry,
okay.
I didn't mean 15 or 16.
You literally didn't mean in the teens. Do you exercise, Cherie?
Oh, yes, I do. It's funny, you have a spin bike. I have a big yellow cruiser bike. I just go up and down the street in Midtown. There's a beautiful canopy of trees that comes over, and every home is different. And it's just, before I even saw you, I felt that was part of my mental health regime, just getting out there and riding around. So I do that. I ballroom dance. I've just taken up Argentine tango in the last few months, and it's very wonderful. In fact, there's a vegan DJ that comes to play music for our Argentine community, and we do a potluck. And so I had the opportunity to make beautiful plant-based, SOS-free food for our DJ, and he really liked it. So I like that a lot, to be able to share.
Very cool. Do you have any friends that are vegan, or other family members other than your mom?
I'm sure I do, but you caught me by a little bit off
by surprise.
It does mean that, so many people do eat conventional. I think when you're eating plant-based, you have to take something to the potluck. And the thing that's, I think, overlooked is that if you make something vegan, everybody can partake of it. Because even if you're a carnivore, you're going to be able to eat plant-based food. And I guess the word vegan seems like it has negative connotations for some people, and I'm saddened by that, because I think there's so many good reasons to embrace that. Yeah. So this is basically done. All it would have to be, I would then scoop it into these. You really promote the silicone baking things, and I have this tiny little can that fits perfectly under this silicone muffin thing, and it works well. So I can get it in and out of the oven without it kind of bending and flipping around. So that's what that is. Now, the next thing I'd like to show you, how are we doing on time?
We're pretty good.
Okay. So, oh, I have a strawberry vinaigrette that is really super easy. And so, you know how these berries come in a container like this? It's 16 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
Getting through the miracle of my son removing the stems, all we have to do is rinse it right now and put it into this beautiful little Vitamix. This is compliments of my mom loaning me that. And it only takes 4 total ingredients.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So it takes this. I use that whole thing of berries and then a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. And that's the same brand as that other, the Hummus. It's a nice one from the co-op. And here I have, what? Here I have some Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons of that. This will work well. And 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, which I know some people do not use that. A lot of times I will substitute date paste for the maple syrup, but in this case I have used the maple syrup, and we go like this.
Yeah, you can also get, have you ever had date syrup?
Yes. In fact, I wanted to share that I found this date syrup at, let's see, the grocery outlet on 17th and Capitol, and it's organic. I don't know if you've ever seen this one before.
Let me see the label up. Let's see the label up close. Well, you have to talk. Oh, Devash, that's Devash.
Can you see that?
Yes, I've seen it at Sprouts actually.
Okay, well, I happened to get that one at the grocery outlet, which the other day I couldn't believe it. I was walking down the aisle and I saw some of Rip Esseltyn's broth there, and I really stocked up on that. So that was, here we go. The miracle of Zoom is going to have to
Did you, Cherie, did you know that you could get date syrup at Walmart now?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the brand that I really love, the organic I Love Date Lady. It's pretty cool.
It's at Walmart?
Yeah, you can get it at Walmart now, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's great to know. I haven't been to Walmart a whole lot, but I have been a little bit, and you know what? They actually had some very good deals on some organic vegetables like broccoli and things that I actually, you know, would eat. So, all right, there we go. I'm gonna try again. Okay, so there it is. It's beautiful. Strawberry vinaigrette, and I would consider maybe I should bring this sometime to the potluck, because I think people would really, really enjoy it, you know?
You know, red must be your favorite color, because all your recipes have been red. You're wearing red.
That's very funny. When my mom turned 80, we had the theme of her thing was Anne likes red. And I think from that time, I had red glasses at that time. I wore a red dress and I was like, oh, red looks pretty good. So like behind me, I know you're into art. I know that looks very simplistic, but I was at the Crocker Art Museum for some kind of an event, and there was a piece of art like that, and I was like, I think I could do that. So I go, well, there's no pattern to the way the colors are arranged. So I got a dice, and I got 6 colors, and I just had the dice represent each color, and I created it that way. So I feel like art does really enrich our lives a lot.
I love it. Do you know of any local art classes? I'd really like to get back in it up here.
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you, but I do know I've been personally hoping that at some point I could learn, get a little bit exposure to acrylic painting, get a little to oil, to watercolor, and then figure out what I really am good at. But so far I haven't found the time to do that. I know you are interested in making jewelry, and these are some earrings I made. I don't know if you can see them.
Nice. You do the beaded ones?
Yeah, this is a vintage. Can you see this? Let's see. Seems like I'm waving it in front. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I think you have to lower it just a bit.
There we go. I don't know if you can see it. This is actually a vintage Swarovski crystal. So this is something I would probably wear ballroom dancing. Speaking of exercise, besides ballroom, I found a place I can do ping pong. I love that. Oh, it's so much fun. I can see why people, I haven't gotten a chance to take up pickleball, but I can see why people would like that because, not as intense as tennis, but still, you're moving around.
Where do you ballroom dance?
Oh, several places. The ballroom is Sacramento, which is off of Micron Drive, and it's an amazing place. They have lessons on Saturday night at 7 before their dance starts. And then there's the beautiful Spotlight Dance and Fitness in West Sacramento, and they have lessons and in general dancing. It is amazingly fun because you get to dress in fun outfits and you're moving and you're having fun, but it doesn't feel like work. So I think it's ideal.
Well, if you love it, it never feels like work.
Yeah, definitely. Now I have this beautiful, I'm going to pour this out and I'm going to make a blueberry sauce that I got it from Cherie Hagenberger's book, The Foodie Bar Way. Are you familiar with that one?
Yes, she's been on the show quite a few times. She'll be back, I believe, in next month.
Yes. Well, I can't tell you how disappointed I was when I learned I couldn't go to Cumnus River College and go into one of her classes because she's moved away.
I know. I moved up here. She moved away.
That was a big disappointment. But anyway, so for the blueberry sauce, this is a organic blueberries. I got these at Trader Joe's. You can get these also at Costco. And I'm rinsing them off.
Do you do any kind of batch cooking?
Oh, yeah. I want to tell you, I saw you interview Jane and Ann Esselton about their book, Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior.
Yeah, that was fun.
This is incredible. I'm so happy I got the wire edge. And so there's a thing in here that I eat a lot. It's called the New Senate Soup. And this is a picture of it. And this is incredible. It's I think a little bit bland, but I instead of making it with navy beans, I make it with black-eyed peas, and it calls for greens in there, and I'll take the beet greens and put that in there, and it gives it some like color and gives it, it's really, oh my God. I added mushrooms to it, and to make it spicy enough so that my mother likes it, guess what? I added your Southwest dressing from your unprocessed book, and you just put like a little swirl of that in the top of this New Senate soup. It is magic. So I can't remember what your question was, but the answer was the Senate soup.
I don't even...
did I have batch cooking? That's a batch.
Oh, yeah, do you ever do batch cooking? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, now I'm trying to make this. Oh boy. I have all these little trays that I prepared, and I want to make you this blueberry sauce. And okay, here we go. You take some lemon zest. I already did this lemon zest. Put that in there. A little bit of vanilla, half a teaspoon. And then, oh my God, when I was at the conference in January, I got some of this Saigon cinnamon, and I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of that in there. If I can just find my teaspoon here. There we go.
Yep, we're going to have another conference in about a week, and he'll be there selling those spices if anybody wants to come to the Sacramento area.
I'm so happy because of the salacious. I'm out of salacious. And when you say, what do I eat every day? I would like to I took onions and mushrooms and that salacious and made it like a saute, and then I'd throw the greens on top. You know, those power greens you get at Costco?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, that was so good. So let me make sure I got the lemon zest, the center. Oh, it takes some date paste. That is the secret ingredient. Well, she puts dates in it. And she uses cashews, but I changed it to chia seeds. So I'm going to put some chia seeds in there. And now I need this a little bit. Here's our date paste out of the, there. There we go. I think I needed my son to help me as I got one thing done and passed it off. I'm getting a little, here we go. I'm going to try this. So I don't know if you can see this, the blueberry sauce.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And you can use this on, you know, you have your ultimate weight loss cookbook, those muffins, the just bananas.
Mm-hmm.
You take some of this and put it on that just banana muffin. Oh, it's such a treat. I just want people to know you don't have to feel deprived. You can still have amazing, beautiful, tasty food. So, all right, now remember Ann Esselstyn's 3-2-1 dressing?
Yep.
Okay, I have a version of that. And ooh. So I like to use these jars, these clear jars. I used to buy the fermented vegetables, which I guess they have salt, so I stopped buying them. But these jars are really perfect. So I started in here with the zest and the juice of one orange, there like this, and then we have to do 1 part of. So this is the organic balsamic from Costco, and I'm taking 1 cup of that. So there's basically 3/3 cups in there. That's where the 3 comes in. And funnily enough, my mom calls it 1-2-3 dressing.
Same thing. Same difference.
I'm trying I've got a new recipe in development. I'm trying to make kind of an Alfredo sauce. But when the first batch, my mom said, well, it's kind of bland. So I was like, okay. So the next batch, I took onion and sauteed it with berebe. Are you familiar with that spice blend?
What's it called?
Ethiopian berebe.
Oh, I didn't know that's how it was pronounced. I thought it was Berber, Berbere.
You know what? It might be. I'm sure it's depending on who's talking. Anyway, this is a jar right here. It's called Ethiopian berebe, and it has a selection of red chilies, cumin, cloves, fenugreek, ginger, nutmeg, cardamom, black pepper, and I know you can't have pepper, garlic, and it has salt in there. So I was stunned to see that. Anyway, but that berebe is really magic. So I'm hoping that Nick from the Allspicery will maybe make something like that.
Well, we can ask him.
Yeah. So the 2 part, I did the balsamic. Now this is 2/3 of a cup of Dijon. There we go.
Do you have a favorite Dijon mustard?
Well, I know that it does have some sodium in it, but I do like this brand. It is, let's see. Can you see that?
Yeah, I don't see the company though.
Oh, it's Natural Value Organic Dijon Style Mustard, and I get this at the Sacramento Natural Food Co-op. Which, have you been there?
It's a great store. I need to contact them because I'd like to get back into teaching classes. I taught there many years ago.
Oh, well, I recommend it because you can get organic spices in whatever amounts you need. Like, if you're trying to experiment with something, you maybe don't want to buy a $7 bottle of something, and you can get a little, try it, and then you can buy more if you need it. It's I think it's ideal.
Do you enjoy the restaurants up here?
I don't mean to sound like an elitist or anything, but even before I was plant-based, if I went to a place and it wasn't better than what I could cook at home, it would be aggravating. So I don't go out very often, but I did go to the Pho Fresh and really enjoyed that. There's a place right here on 25th and J called Veg that's very excellent.
Haven't been to that one.
Yeah. Okay, that is good. So see, it's in this jar, which is a nice container, and then I take an immersion blender and just blend that right up. And so, go. Here we go. This dressing is good on so many things.
That's very cool.
One of my coworkers from the ICU gave me this. It's a very good kitchen gadget. All right.
How healthfully do they eat at the hospital?
Chef AJ, it's appalling. When I started working at Mercy San Juan Hospital in 1992, I went down to the cafeteria and I saw donuts there. And I was just like, this is a hospital. How can they have donuts? And I'm sure you know, when you were a respiratory therapist, it's absolutely unbelievable. So now I work at a different hospital and different Mercy hospital, and I do think they try to have some healthier foods, but it's kind of the chicken or the egg. If you are offering, people think they want fried stuff, and that's what they offer, and it's quick and it's predictable, and that's what they do. It's really, really sad. So there's very little that I could, if I have to go to the hospital and I haven't had time to prepare my lunch, there's very little there that I could actually eat. Oh, listen, are we do we need to end this so you can post it?
Pretty soon, if you can. And we'd like to know where we can follow you, if you have any social media presence, if people want to connect with you.
So I have, on Facebook, I'm just under my regular name, Cherie Nelson. And then my Instagram is Chef Cherie Amour. And the reality is I need to learn more about how to operate on those in those venues. But you know what? I learned enough to get the recipes to you and be on here. So I feel like I've actually made a lot of progress.
You did a great job, really. I think maybe your friends are right. Maybe you should write a book.
Oh, you're so kind.
Well, thank you. And thanks for being vegan, and thanks for coming to our potlucks. We appreciate you bringing such beautiful food every time.
Well, I'm going to keep learning, and absolutely. And I want to thank you for just spreading the word. If it's not repeated, then it's easy to maybe just forget about the enthusiasm, but you keep it going. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Cherie.
You're welcome.
And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow for another great guest. Take care, everyone.